The halacha tells us that if somebody has a nocturnal emission or sees Keri on Yom Kippur, so all year long he has to be fearful that perhaps that's the year he has to go to leave this world. And if he passes the year, that shows that he's okay. So the question is, say you're a rabbi and somebody comes to you and says, what eitzah can you give them? So Mishnah Berurah says, like more Torah, learn one daf, learn two daf. Another guy says, make sure, this is this Hasidic Rabbi that would wear stockings when he slept all year long. When it came Yom Kippur, he would take off his stockings. It was just like the Kohen Gadol. He would put on cold on his feet, so he didn't have cold feet, so it wouldn't happen. What happens? It did happen, what do you do? Then they went to the rabbis with a list of Hasidic rabbis and give a whole list of eitzes and tachbulos. And all come down to go to the mikveh. Say Tehillim. But then there was one eitzah that I saw. He says that when you go to sleep at night, you should follow what it says in Pirkei Avos, Perik Beis. It says, Mavatel ritzoncho l'ritzono, Kidei sheyavatel ritzon acherim mitnei ritzonecho. Mavatel, when you go to sleep, you put your hands in the hands of God, totally. And remove all your will from yourself. Or your desires are one. And say, look, if you want God, take me. And if not, help me. I remove all myself. And I put my hands in your way. I have no desires of my own. And I only want to do your will. And I'm in your hands. I get up in the morning. Again, with all your energy, do His will. Comes the night again, and do this all year long. What will happen if you do it? If you move your will to His will, totally. So the pasuk says, other people's will be against yours. And Rashi learns, Shivatu Ratzon Acherim Hiktim Olech Olaro, those that Hakomim Olech Olaro, who want to go against you. So everybody thinks only physical enemies. So he's learning even punishment. Even though be punishment, so still you can mavatal it. Now let's understand this Maisa. Here the guy's going to sleep. He puts his hands in the hands of Hashem. I wish I had the text with me. I don't have it. He puts his whole being in front of Hashem. See, here I am, Hashem, at night. What? Yeah. Because what do you do at night? You give your soul to God. Most people, when they sleep, they're tired and they fall asleep from exhaustion. The religious man goes to sleep because he has to go to sleep, because he knows he has to get up in the morning to the minyan, and he has to know in the morning he has things to do. So willfully, as a free choice decision, he decides he must go to sleep. And now he's going to sleep. And he says, I'm going to sleep. I remove myself, all my prayer, all the things. I have all these malachim here, the shishin giborim, protecting me, and give my soul to God. And in the morning, I'll get up with new energy. And he gets up whatever time he has to get up, like a clock. Doesn't go to sleep from exhaustion, or he has nothing else to do in life, or he's hollered at by his parents, or even adults, and they think they're going to sleep, they have the adult picture of hollering at night, and say, I am, and then he does what he wants. And at a certain point, no, he goes to sleep because he puts his soul in the hands of Hashem. At this point, he says, now Mavatel, I'm giving myself over to you, do what you want, and I'm Mavatel my will all my wills and everything. And I am, will means my desire, my lusts, and I'll do what you want. And please try to give me back. Against you, not only the physical enemies, but your averis, or things will somehow disappear. It's a good idea to try it. No? Got people you owe money to. Only you give your hands in the hands of Hashem. But the point, there was beautiful point I liked about it. He picked a point. Not when you get up in the morning. You see, if you read the books on personal development and growth and self-worth, so where would they say, when you get up in the morning, you say, I'm going to do God's will. Not my own, I'm going to do God's will. I say what's on, I'm going to do His will. My desires, I'm going to do it. What I'll do today, I'm going to do it His will. I'm going to push it with Him. He didn't say that in the book. The answer was because this person has troubles. A lot of troubles. A lot of people are after him. There's loads of problems. There's a reason why he has the problems. Why does he have the problem? He's a balavera, he's a chote, who knows why? He's a sinner. And that's why, mida keneged mi, Hashem does it. And they're after him. After his life. So what do? He picks a place and a point where he's giving his life anyway up at night. Right? Because you can go to sleep, you're giving your life up. Not that you fall asleep, you're tired and you get up. At night you willfully give yourself up in the hands of God. And you hope that He will willfully give it back to you, like we say. You gave me back my life. I gave it to you, you gave it back to me. So at this point, when you're giving your life, anyway, so you're fulfilling in a way that He's taken away your life. So now, instead of taking away, you willfully gave it up. But you gave it up with a certain stipulation that anyway you're giving it up. That's anyway you get it. But I'm giving it up in a certain way. I'm mavatel all my will, my taivas, my lust and desires. I can only decide to learn Torah and do mitzvahs. Only Torah mitzvahs. Only to work on I'm going to get rid of my kas, and only my tithe, only your will. At that point, there's a tremendous amount of power, change. What happened over here? Let's say he didn't do the bittul at night before he goes to sleep, giving us soul. He did the bittul during the day. I'm going to get rid of my will. I'm not going to follow my will. I'm going to do that. It's also good. I'll say it's not, but it's not the same thing. Why? Because you're not in a place really, the person's not in a place where he's totally, in a place of an act where he's totally giving his whole being up. But he has to give it anyway. At night you give your whole being up to God. And have the confidence and faith. So now this guy is afraid, maybe he won't get up in the morning. It's like in the army. He'll go to sleep, and since he did this terrible avera, he had, okay, it can't by itself, but it's a siman of shamayim that he's a sinner, and he has to die in the year. So he has fear. Who knows he'll get up in the morning? So a man doesn't know he's going to get up in the morning. Think of the fear and the anxiety. How can he sleep at night? How can he sleep when he comes in? Maybe a ganef will come in. Maybe a PLO will happen. Maybe someone will have with the kids. And who knows what fears a guy? You know what I mean? Maybe now I went to visit a guy who had cancer. I'll get cancer. Who knows? It's not catchy, but I mean, who knows what is he thinking? Who knows what goes into that head? So he has this point. So now he has the place of putting his faith and trust in Hashem. Totally. So at that point, he's able to again, mavatel his will. Okay, God, take me. I'm ready to be taken. That's not a surrender, take me. He says, okay, whatever you want, you'll do. But as far as I'm mavatel, he has a trick formula. I'm mavatel, I will destroy my lusts and desires, what I want. And I'll do your will. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. Now to change one's taivas and lust is very hard. Very hard. Maybe you can do it momentarily. But also just before you go to sleep, psychologically and subconsciously, if you place that view into your mind, it definitely has a lot of effect in the being. You have a problem in your mind, you sleep it out at night, it gets solved in the morning sometimes by itself, because the machine works. And here, the person will put in, I'm avatal all my rotzones, my wills, my desires. I'm only going to do your will. I'm avatal my will to your will. I'll do what you want. I'll do it. What do you mean do what I want? We're talking about a religious man anyway. He's not, what are you doing wrong? He says, I'll do it with all my energy. I'll do it with more energy, with more pep, with more wisdom. At that point, Mida Keneged Mida, since you are avatal, your will, for me, these enemies you have, you owe money to, who want to kill you, or Averis, all of them become bottle, will disappear. Don't have an effect. When I read this, I thought, wow, what a wonderful Eitzah. Have to Mefarsim. Okay, it's a little drush in a way that it says in the text that Yevato Ritzon Kidei Sheyevato Ritzon Acherim Mipnei Ritzoncha. So I understand the first part of the text that says, if you make your will his will, in order to make your will his will. I understand that. To make your will, in order to do your will to happen, which is his will, because God's will always will happen. So that's very good. But the other part that removes your will to his will, so you're doing his will. So in order that the will of others will be bottled to your will. But the will of Hashem is that you get punished. You're doing Avera, you get punished, so why should it be that you don't get punished? His will was to get punished. How the Rabbi, you surrender and not fight against, you know what I mean? So the answer is yes.
When it says in the end, in the battle, the Rosh Hashanah, say the same one?
No, it's a different one. But it seems to be other people are out to hurt you. So he's learning Drush, but Derech Drush means even Oynesh, whatever it may be. Because anyway, it's mystical. How should it work? It's working only mystically anyway. So all the same thing. You can Mavatal your will, so the same thing can be Mavatal the Oynesh. Because if there's a bittul ratzon here, 1 second. Yes.
Why is it mystical?
When I meant that, because the first way I understand logically. If I make my will his will, so his will of course wins. So then, if it's his will, so of course everything will be done according to his will. But if I'm mavatel my will to his will, so why should other things be mavatel for his will? Because I was mavatel my will. His will is there, good, his will is there. So it has to be with his will. Why call it mavatel other people's will against? So in Hasidic terms, acherin could be the sitra acher, could be other things. Okay, but that's but we're not learning like that. Yes. It's other people who come out to hurt you. When I say to protect you, it's very simple. Protect you against what way? Against diseases and germs, and hurting yourself on the road, and 10,000 things. So those are things you don't know what it's about. So it's very good. So you can talk about malachim, you know about other things. But here you're talking about those who are coming out to kill you. Who's coming out to kill you? The Averis. It means more. You can extend it. What are you looking up there? He's Mishnah down. We'll make a little point here that how much a person has to fight and constantly give in order to learn Torah. Guy says to me, look, Rabbi, I'm learning, you know. I don't see progress so much. What should I do? Another person says, listen, I work so hard. You know, when do I get a vacation? Or sometimes you get a little discouraged in your life. So the people explain. Who should go up to the mountain? So the Mefarshim explain. What is the concept Yala Bahar Hashem? In order to go up to the mountain, you need constant energy. It's like going up. They say the mountain has ice or slippery. You have to do that. A lot of energy is needed to get up to the mountain. If you stop for a minute, you can slide down and back. It's not like you stay in one place. You have to constantly go up in the mountain. That's how people learn Pshat. There's a positiveness, an activeness. It's not a surrender. Even you say Mavata Ritzoncha Ritzono, it's not a surrender to God. It also must be a positive thing. Like some people say, bittul means. But again, the person is doomed to die. What does he do? Goes to the rabbi and asks advice. What do I do, Rabbi? I had this terrible thing that, according to the stars, according to the Chazal, okay, you're not doomed. If you pass by, what can I do about it? I got it. So normally, if you read the Shulchan Aruch, you'd say what? Let it play out. You read the Mishnah Berurah, what I do? Okay, I learn more. He gave another answer. You go to sleep, do this. So what's the whole reason for this thing to happen is to you learn more Torah, or to Bavata Ritzoncha Ritzono, or like you're an Ishache, you're somebody else in your matzah where you are. That's it. But since a man can change his mind, always has to go up the hill, can be sliding back, don't get discouraged. In the matzah where you are, okay, but change your matzah. More Torah, more mitzvahs, have bigger bitachon. So we take so then what would be the eitzah then of, Mavata Ritzoncha Ritzonach? Mashma that also, how did the Shechazela come anyway? Because you had certain Ritzonos. You were hiding them. You weren't not Mavata your Ritzon. You may be controlling it, but not Bittul. That's why these things came out. How did the Zera come out? Because Mustami the Rambam says that a person whose head isn't learning, he doesn't see Arba. He doesn't see, his head's in learning. He doesn't see women. He doesn't see that. So therefore he has still will. Who knows what his desires is? So therefore he has to mavatal himself. That's also could be mida keneged mida. So if the siba is gone of your will, so then if you're kept in the same position, we had these lusts, and even though they're sublimated, so therefore it came out like this. If you remove that will, so you're a different person, so then the Misa won't be there. But as long as you have the will, it's still there. That's a possibility. Yes?
You say that the guy who had a Shabbat Zera, actually, when you do the bitul, actually he died. He got it. He died already. Now it's a new guy. Now it's a new guy after the bitul. When you do the bitul, you...
I wouldn't say a new guy, but he's on a new matzav, definitely. That could be a shemacher, another thing, yeah. Not a real new guy, but he's changed his habits. He's a different person in that sense. So a shemacher won't help, because you have to change your internal being. Yes. Okay. Possible. That's so possible. Any other question? Yes. But I just liked one thing though. Try it out tonight. Try it out. You say, Kriyat Malamito, you're going to sleep. Mapil. Give yourself totally to Hashem. And Mavato your will to His will. Try it out. Try a little exercise. Try it out tonight. See what happens. Try it. What do you want to say? The whole year. The guy has to do it the whole year. The whole year.
The words on one night, it has to be, he's Mavata for a whole year, he's Mavata the rest of his life.
Every night. But in the whole year. Every night, for the whole year. Try it out.
Is he saying every night that I'm Mavata my will for the rest of my life? It's Mavata for just Mavata for the next 20 years?
The whole life, but every night he's doing it for his whole life. He's changing his will every night. Yeah. Surrender. Okay. I'm finished. I'm dead anyway. So I might as well do your will, you know. Okay, I surrender.
The Mishnah says the positive side also.
It does, but it says it first and then the negative. Okay, so that's a kasha we had. Why first positive and then negative?
No, I'm saying you want to...
It means do your will. Bittul also is a positive, not just surrender.
It's also do.
It's a doing something. It's a bittul of you. Any other question? Yes. You have to make it. There's more than a decision. You have to actually sit there and figure out how you're going to get rid of your will, your desires. I'll get rid of my will. I'll do your will, God. And 2 minutes later, you're back to your old story. Like all of us. Okay. I wanted to extend what I said yesterday. That's also a wonderful eitzah. What a wonderful eitzah. Before a guy, or a person goes to sleep, at this moment, when he's giving his whole self over to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he has his trust in Hashem, gives his soul to God, come back. At that point, he says, he puts himself on the line, and he's mavatal his ratzon, his will, for the will of God. What is meant mavatal his ratzon? We're talking about a person who, on Yom Kippur, saw Keri, he had a nocturnal emission. That means that his internal subconscious was effective for what he saw, what he does, or his ideas. And now it's somehow being expressed in a way that the Zera comes out on Yom Kippur, which is a sign that his inside's not clean. Got bad thoughts, does things, who knows what. His inside's not straight. Doesn't mean somebody who doesn't have his straight, but it definitely means that this person definitely has a problem. So therefore, at this point, what does he got to do? Just to take the result? Or no, does he have to now somehow me to work on himself to change his internal being, which means his subconscious, his feelings, which he may be hiding or sublimating or putting on the side, that are somehow coming out in this strange way. And Hashem is Megal, look, the way you are, your inside is not clean. And the way you're going to go, you're going to die. So shape up. And how can I do to shape up? So they tell him, naturally, learn Torah, which is again, do God's will. Add a little more means change your taivas, your way of living, a little more Torah. A little more mitzvahs. Go to the mikveh means matar yourself more. So it's clean up your act. And the answer, this person is the Rabbi. Give yourself over to God. Make a conscious effort to remove your will, your desires, your lust, and give it on to Hashem. So I asked everybody to try out last night. When they go to sleep, to do it. I'd like to hear some results. Did it work? Now what worked? What should have worked? Should have worked is that. I don't know if you can do it in one night, really. Because to give yourself over and totally to make your will, mavato, your will to his will, is a hard job. If you did it 1 and 2, you're pretty good. Who knows if you did it? I don't mean before you did it. I mean, definitely everybody did it and made an effort to do it. The question, did you do it with the instructions and you accomplish it? So I want to get into this a little bit again. So I bring down that what is Musa? So everybody learns to improve themselves. This they want to say in the name of Simcha Zisel. I don't know what Simcha Zisel, but anyway, according to the Sefer Das Chochmu Musa. I don't know who it is.
That's Yerucham Mir.
Yerucham Mir wants to explain Rabbeinu Yonah this way. What is Musa? Tzorech sheyilmod gnus v'averos v'hefsed ovom. Lahachiv nashmeim lochiach atzmo bezichron ha'onshim liyasa zulas zos ha'idiyah tikva Musa. Person has to learn the emotional aspect of a sin. This should be to him terrible, disgusting, sick. He wants to have nothing to do with it. And the loss that is found in doing an Avera. And stay far away. It's a Muslim. They bring an example, which I like to bring, that he brings. It says, Lo tasu ovo b'mishna, don't do something wrong or a terrible thing or change judgment. And they call this person, they give this person 5 names. They call him 5 names of terrible names. They call him, the person does this, Ovel, Sonui, Meshukatz, Cherem, Betoeva. All these are terrible names. Toeva is disgusting. Sonui is hated. Meshukatz is also terrible. Like Shegatz. Shegatz and Meshukatz mean Shegatz. Yeah. These are names. Toeva, Cherem, Ovel. It was real bad, nasty names they call them, which is an emotional appeal. Why did they? Hi, all you had to do was say Lishpo b'tzedek, judge in tzedek. Tzedek meaning justice. And understand? The answer is, in order to implant and to impress the person emotionally, that he has to stay away from him. Not only intellectually stays away from him, but emotionally has to stay away from it. That his whole body, his whole inner fiber, his whole being of his whole emotional system is against it. So they give these names, and they call him these names, that if he does change judgment, these are the things that he is. He's a low life, a toev, a disgusting, a hated person, a whatever it is. All these terrible names. So we see in Chazal that we are worried about a person changing his inner fiber to stay away from something, and it affects it internally. This is a story in a book. I don't know how I got this sefer. I don't know. Somebody gave more of a Shemesh. Somebody bought it from me. It's a Hasidic book. Anyway, you looked at it. Now, Gnome anyway. And so it says a story of this person. So they asked him, his father-in-law asked him, this is beginning of the Hasidic movement when there was the Chozeh Milublin and all these people around. He was in this time. So they were anti-Hasidic. So they asked him, what do you learn in Hasidus? What do you have to run all over these rabbis over there? He says, I go there to learn that there's a God in the world and he runs the world. He said, well, that's simple. Kol Babe Rav Oimer says, everybody knows that. So he said like this here. Nochon, Kukulam Oimim Zois. Everybody says it. Shom Lomari Lahargish Zos Bachush. There I learned it to feel it. I see it physically, and every minute I recognize that it's true. In other words, it has to be internalized in the inner fiber of every emotional being that he has. Okay. In other words, it's not only religiously intellectual, also the people. But then they quote a pasuk, and this is a pasuk well known. Mibsori achaz Elokai. This is a pasuk in Yov. That from my meat, I see Hashem. It's a little taken out of context, but it's true what they say, that every fiber of his body, the meat, he can't see, etc., but the meat is himself has to see God. Not only my eyes see, but my meat has to see. My flesh has to see. Interesting. In other words, to be totally involved. To make the religion alive and real, they want to make. There's no shaila about it that if the person's in it totally, so you win. They tell the problem of the Yeshiva Bacha that if you're engrossed in learning, so you have no problem of Shichazela Vatola, all these problems. You're learning. Or you're not learning, you're with the women, so you don't have these problems. You don't have a masturbation problem if the guy's totally with the women, or if he's totally in learning. But when does a guy have those problems? When he's on the border. When he has 1 foot here and 1 foot there. He's not totally in. Then he has the problem. So the problem comes out that you're not straight. The Rambam says that a person's totally involved in learning. He doesn't see no Arabic, he sees nothing. He doesn't see women, he doesn't see anything. He just sees his wife and he goes home. He doesn't see women in the street. And if he does, he's like a doctor, professional, doesn't see nothing, it doesn't mean anything. He sees but has no meaning. Because his mind's engrossed in medicine when he's doing his thing, whatever it may be. His mind is not engrossed in medicine and tivus and loss, and then there's doctor problems. The doctor has the problem, the patient has the problem. So now we have a person who, according to, we try to show that in Judaism you have to be totally engrossed, totally committed with your whole body, mind, and soul to believe in Hashem. And your in and out should be one. That's what they say. You should take a student that the inside and the outside is one. A student the inside is Tocho Kabara, the inside is like the outside. And if it's not, you shouldn't take such a student like that. Because you can't build on him. Let's say he was a student like that and things got ruined. So what happened was his inside's not like the outside. Looks like a tzaddik. Yom Kippur is around. And he had this, who knows what happened there, and Zera came out. So you have to test out, what is that guy? What's his insides? That means the ins and out is not together. The inside is now shown itself, has surfaced And now it's seen. Nothing happened. He didn't do sins. He's not an avera it's something that he has to worry about. So how does he fix it? So now he comes to the time when he goes to sleep. Sleep is the time where all the deeper subconscious feelings can come out in dreams and in other things that are there. I mean, that's really what happened anyway when he had this. He was sleeping on Yom Kippur where he was dreaming who knows what, and the internal subconscious thing came out. So now at the same point, the way you go in, you go out. At this point, when a person's going to sleep, and he's giving his heart to God and his soul anyway, that's the time when he makes his tikkun. What's the tikkun? To mevatel his ratzon. Not only the ratzon as well, but somehow find a way to change oneself, change one's internal being, his will, which is his taivas, his lust, his desire, and now give it up. Not only give it up, but mevatel, destroy it, and put in its place God's will. So then, this thing that's going to come, Misa, whatever it will be, Hashem can't even break it, because you already broke your desires, you changed, I broke your desires. And it's good just before you sleep that you change yourself, you put your hands in God's hands totally, with total faith, and in your internal being, what you are, make those changes. I really said the same thing I said yesterday, but a little stronger. Because I'd like you to experiment again tonight. Try it out tonight. And say Kriya Shema Lamita. Or those who don't say it tonight. And put again your faith in Hashem and mevatel your will to Hashem's will. See what happens. See if it can work. See how you feel when you get in the morning. See if anything changes in the morning. In your inner fiber of yourself. Try it out again. Any questions? Yeah. See how you live? Try it out. I really want to I mentioned that everybody should try to experiment at night before you go to sleep. Mevatel your das, your ratzon to the ratzon Hashem. Okay. So I asked around, did anybody do it? So people tried. I asked them what happened. So I want to explain a little bit about it. Let's talk about the degree that's needed to mevatel your das or your ratzon to the ratzon Hashem, to remove your will and do the will of God. Now, there's the conscious will of man and there's the subconscious will of man. Now, this person we're talking about is somebody who outwardly is a righteous man, a religious man, and it came Yom Kippur, and what happened? He had a nocturnal emission, and then he looks into Shulchan Aruch, and the law says anybody has a nocturnal emission or sees Zera on Yom Kippur, it means he's going to die for the year. So now, he's a good man, he puts on tefillin, sits as a religious man, what's he going to do? It's like a prediction, that's what's going to happen. And if the year passes by, and he lives, he's a man of merit. And if not, that's it. So what does he do? So the answer is he has to change his internal being, his desires, and make his will God's will, or change some of his internal being. At this point, comes at nighttime, and he's listening to the advice of the rabbi, which says, before you go to sleep and you put your soul in the hands of God, you don't go to sleep because you're tired. You go to sleep because you need to replenish your energy for the next day. You know, you're not tired, you know you have to sleep in order to get more energy, to be able to have more energy to worship Hashem and bring more of the honor of Hashem in the world. So at this point, he now gives his soul to God at night. Not that he falls asleep because he's tired, gets old. Can he also, now is Mavatel, he removes his will and makes to do the will of God. Batel Ritzon or Ritzono. So what does he do? How much can he actually, if we're dealing in the subconscious of the person, so how much can he actually give up of his will? What does he do? What does he actually do? So somebody told me, what did he do? He said it. Now, he says the magic words, and now Mavatel my will. Well, he quotes the Mishnah, and he says, I'm doing it. He has to do more. He has to move himself emotionally and feeling about it. We said yesterday, because the whole being of the person has to change. He has to say, I'm going to really do it. I'm going to get rid of this and get rid of that. I'm only going to do the will of Hashem. So it's a whole story that's going to take place over here. At this point, we have a sefer called Oneg Yontif. He's a serious Talmud Chacham. Right, Yaakov Yitzhak? Serious guy. So he has in the beginning in his Hakadama interesting thoughts. I one time wanted to make from all the Hakadamas of the key classics to write it down and translate into English. It's really worthwhile, and make footnotes and to get involved. It's really worthwhile because a lot of the Torah in the Muslim movement, a lot of people is really gotten from the original sources being the Hakdamas of different sort. I use it also. There's a problem. And it goes, there's a Tosus in Aveda Zara, Dibra Masel Nogan. How do we know that the Jewish people are fulfilling the Torah? Because we have a stipulation that the existence of the Jew, the existence of Israel, is on a stipulation that we keep the commandments. So we keep the commandments, so we're in Israel. We don't keep the commandments, we kick that. If we keep the commandments, so then we exist. Don't keep the commandments, so we disappear. So the Jewish people existence always is on a Tanai, on a condition. It's conditional. Although he loves us, Am Yisrael will continue, but most things are conditional. So it says that the fact that we exist, the biggest proof that we are fulfilling the Torah is that we're in existence. So Tosas answers, no. We are yesh shekayomim mima sheyakablu, because it says in mekablim Yisrael. Not are we fulfilling the Torah or not fulfilling the Torah, but the fact that we are accepting upon ourselves the yoke to fulfill the Torah. A little smarter, we have made that split. In other words, not that we are fulfilling, but we accept upon ourselves to fulfill. So we already have three categories. We have doing, don't doing, and we have accepting upon ourselves the obligation to do. The future, like stocks, you're buying futures. So you are anticipating, you say, I'm going to do it. That's what we learned in the text. Where do we know that if the person's actions is greater and more than his Torah, it exists? If the Maisim are greater than his learning, it exists. So may I explain is that, how can it be? If you know, then you do. So how can you do more than what you know? It's a paradox. The answer is that you accept upon yourself to do all the Torah and all the mitzvahs. So even though you didn't study about it or know about it, all the details, but since you accept to do the Kabbalah itself, therefore it's considered as if you did. So we already get paid for the futures, and we get paid in the now for the futures. But the problem is when the futures come, Like you give a check, and then condition that, you're going to get it in Yirtzeh Hashem, with God's help, Be'ezras Hashem, with the help of Hashem. But then it comes a time you have to cash in the check. You have to have the money in the bank. But for the future, a future check for anticipation, so that's enough to already get the merchandise and use it and go forward and live, and you think everything's okay. So we have, so now we have the futures. We're all living in the Kabbalah, but the thing, we think we have it, and we're doing it. We're only in the Kabbalah aspect. So the same thing I wanted to say a little bit is when you're saying, I'm going to Mavatel, my will to the will of Hashem, so we're only making a Kabbalah. We're saying words. We're making an effort. We're trying. But you're not there. Did you actually remove Mavatel your will for the will of Hashem? Did you actually Mavatel your will? You have to try. And if you are Mavatel your will, the will that you know about, what about your subconscious will? Because what took place here in this person thought he's okay. And then he found out that he had this nocturnal emission on Yom Kippur. So he knows that his inside is not good. So maybe there are blatant things that he knows about. But there also may be real conscious, maybe not such conscious things. Hidden away parts himself that are now crawling up and surfacing in order for him to change. And God gives him the message, listen, you better check your insides. Because outside you look nice. But inside it's no good. There's a bubbling. You have frustrations. You have hostilities. Who knows what you have, full of taiva, lust, and desire. Who knows what your inside is? Because it looks nice and feels good. Who says that your inside is really good? So therefore, so the answer is, because the proof of the pudding is, you had this nocturnal emission. It means on Yom Kippur. If you had it a day before, day after, no problem. How come on Yom Kippur? How come on Yom Kippur? The holiest day, because you're not holy. You think you are. So God's giving you that message. So then you got to check your insides. And he's checking, but who says he checked it enough? Who says he's not in the dream world? He's in fantasy. And if he thinks what he knows, who says that that's the answer? So therefore, there has to be a certain part here in the Kabbalah that when you